Oh, I can't believe it, you guys did it again. 80 likes, and you actually did it. Ugh. So, hello guys, this is the King of Weebs. This is What If Naruto Left the Village Part 4. This What If has got a lot of love, a lot of likes, everything, and a lot of comments saying how good it is, and I really appreciate you all. So, I will be making Part 4. So, let's get into it. Also, before we get into it, help me get to 500 subscribers. I'm on 485. Also, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, subscribe to RATREET and Miniman. Miniman gives me his gameplay, allows me to use it. Please go sub to him. RATREET made my Discord, sub to him. Thank you. And let's get into it. So last time we left off with Naruto asking who the little girl was when he was in the hospital, and the third Hokage is like, oh, that must have been Hinata Hyuga, and Naruto's like, can I have a description of her because I don't know anyone here, and the third Hokage is like, oh, she has white eyes, she has black, wait, did I say black? I meant blue. And then he said she has white eyes, blue hair, and then the Kakashi's like, oh, I saw her near the new ice cream shop that opened up a few months ago. It's pretty famous. There are a lot of people in it right now. I'm sure you'll find them. Hawk is like, oh, you must have been that girl that you bumped into before, and not like, oh, I guess I'll probably go see her, but maybe not, because she was with other people, and Naruto really wanted to see her and thank her for worrying about him, but he didn't know how to approach her since she was hanging out with her friends. So Haku's like, just go, it's fine, they won't say anything to you. Naruto's like, okay, and he trembled out, and everyone started laughing because Naruto was just shy now, and he wasn't as outgoing anymore. And then the Kazakage starts talking and says, third Hokage, I do not want to allow Naruto to come back to this village after all that's happened to him. I will not allow this again, and he will be staying in the sand village from now on. He's a sand shinobi. The third Hokage was thinking about this, and he says, but we need the Nine Tails though. And then the Kazakage says, oh, so you, and then he's like, there is another reason why I don't want to give Naruto up, and also there won't be anyone attacking you with tail beasts only because you lost yours, especially because I want to make a peace treaty with your village. And the third Hokage's eyes widen, and the Kazakage is like, this is just something I want to give back to you guys for allowing us to keep Naruto. It's not that we want him as a weapon, it's because he's a sand shinobi now. We won't allow him to suffer this again, go through all that again and suffer. And then Haku basically says that's right, and Zabuza just looks at the third Hokage and looks at him in a way that he just doesn't want Naruto to come back to this village. He's like, this village doesn't deserve such kind-hearted young man. And then the Kazakage does tell, and also one more thing, we have to tell you this. Naruto and the Nine Tails have become friends, as you already saw. And, well, have become friends, and not as you already saw, sorry guys, I got confused when Naruto was showing off to the Kazakage. And the third Hokage's eyes widen, and he's like, what do you mean, Naruto and the Nine Tails friends? And then the Kazakage is like, same with my son, Shukaku and Gaara have become friends too. And one more thing before I stop talking, the Nine Tails has a name too. His name is Kurama. So next time, don't forget that. The Hokage and Kakashi were stunned at this, and it's like, they were talking to each other like Naruto has become friends with the Nine Tails, and then uh Kakashi says maybe he became friends before he left the village, and that's how he was able to get away so fast. And Kakashi understood now that he didn't it wasn't him who wasn't fast enough. It was because of the Nine Tails' speed buffs that he gave Naruto. It must have been because of that, because Naruto wasn't even a ninja by then. He was just a 6-year-old. And then Zabuza's like, Naruto has come to me after when he was 6, and he told me everything, and we've been living together ever since. I won't let my son go with you guys. I don't care who his real father was. And then the third Hokage is like, even if he was the fourth Hokage. And Zabuza's eyes widen, and he's like, are you being serious? The fourth Hokage's son is Naruto. And the Kazekage was completely confused as well. And then Zabuza gets back to himself and is like, I don't care, even if he was the fourth Hokage's son. Naruto doesn't deserve to be treated this way again. And Kakashi understands and says, you're right, third Hokage, I think we should allow Naruto to stay with the sand, and we can make a peace treaty with them. Because, and then the third Hokage is like, but the thing is, Naruto cannot master the Nine Tails' chakra yet. And they're like, yes, we know, it's because of that damn seal and the key that Naruto doesn't possess. And the third Hokage is that I will arrange for Naruto to get his key. I know who has it, but right now he's not in the village. And then he says, "You is Jiraiya, one of the legendary 3 Sanin." And they are confused and they say, but why does he have it? And then Kakashi says, Master Jiraiya was my sensei's, the fourth Hokage's teacher, and he was meant to be Naruto's godfather. And Zabuza just gets angry and slashes his sword onto the desk, and he literally slashes the desk in half and says, that man doesn't deserve to be called Naruto's godfather. Because of him, Naruto had to go through all this. If he really cared about Naruto, he wouldn't have let Naruto stay alone in a village where people would hate him, would try to kill him. And then the third Hokage jumps in and says, well, the only reason Jiraiya did this is because he wanted to protect Naruto and the village at the same time. And then Zabuza, what do you mean? And then he said, Orochimaru, the one of the and then they're like, yeah, of course he tried to attack the Kazekage. And they're confused and they're like, wait, are you being serious? And the Kazekage confirms this but says Orochimaru wasn't able to kill me because Shikaku did teach me a few new techniques. And they were actually kinda scared now, because they know that even the third Hokage would have a hard time dealing with Orochimaru, and the fourth Kazekage just they're kind of surprised that Rasa can just make Orochimaru run away from him and injured him, when even the third Hokage would kind of have trouble beating him or killing him. And Rasa made him escape, and he was literally unscathed. And they're like, alright, but and Jiraiya is forgiven by Zabuza. And when Haka asks, so do you still hate Jiraiya? And Jiraiya's like, Zabuza is like, I don't mind him. He did try to protect Naruto, from what I've heard from this geezer and his subordinate Kakashi of the Sharingan. And Haki smiles and says, oh, that's good. And now we skip to Temari and Shikamaru. Shikamaru is showing Temari around because he's a gentleman, and he's saying, oh yeah, these are the hot springs, and this is Well, I mean, these are the public baths. This is the the ramen shop. Some people really like, and one of my old friends who I haven't seen in years used to love. And that old friend was Naruto, because Shikamaru used to see Naruto. He did play with him a few times in the park, and his father didn't say anything about it. And Choji used to play with him as well. And out of nowhere, he disappeared. So Temari gets curious and asks, "What do you mean by you haven't seen him in a while?" And then Shikamaru says, "Well, he disappeared years ago and still hasn't been seen. I can't remember his name. It was something like Naruto Uzumaki, but haven't seen him in a while." And Temari's eyes widen, and she thinks that Naruto had friends, and maybe just he had friends, but he just didn't notice it. And then Shikamaru says, "Well, he didn't have many friends. He probably had like me and Choji, just us two, because everyone else hated him for some reason. I don't understand why. But he disappeared. I mean, it's not. It was expected of him to one day just give up on trying to make the villagers acknowledge him as a human being. They used to treat him like trash. To understand. That's why I don't really like the villagers here. Kinda hate them, not gonna lie." And Temari understands why Naruto ran away, and it's not that Naruto didn't know he had friends or people liked him. It's just that he couldn't take all the hate, so he just left. And so then Shikamaru says, "Anyway, I gotta go meet up with my friend, so if it's fine by you, I'm sure you know your way around the village now. So see ya." And Temari is like, "Oh yeah, bye." And she was kind of bummed out that Shikamaru just left, and she was like, "Oh whatever, let me go find the others. Maybe it's time." And she sees Naruto walking around with just in a dark way, or you know how he was walking with Haku, apathetic, no feelings. And then she says, "Hey Naruto," and Shikamaru turns around and he says, "Wait, what? Did I just say Naruto?" And Naruto's like, "Oh hey Temari," and Shikamaru turns around and his eyes pop out of its sockets, and he's like, "Is that really Naruto?" And he literally, basically, Naruto was about to walk away with Temari because he was gonna uh, show Temari the things that he knew as well and the places he liked. And then Shikamaru used the Shadow Possession Jutsu and is like, "Wait a minute, Naruto, you're back." And Naruto realizes that's Shikamaru, and he never really hated him, so he's like, "Oh, hey Shikamaru, it's been a while, hasn't it?" And Shikamaru's like, "Just 6 years, not too much, Naruto." And then he starts asking Naruto, where did he go, what happened to him, and what is that outfit, because Naruto is wearing all black with a cloak. Did I say a cloak? Whatever. If not, I meant a cloak as well. And Naruto's like, "Well, you see, I've changed." And Shikamaru's like, I can see that you changed, but what happened to you?" And then Naruto's like, "You wouldn't understand." And Shikamaru said, "Is it because of the villagers?" And Naruto's like, "Well, if you already know, there's no point of asking me." And Shikamaru said one more thing before he left, is that, "Well, I guess you left for the sand village since I see you with the sand shinobi." And Naruto's like, "Yeah, she's like a sister to me, but I'm sure that you two will get along." And Temari blushes a bit and says, and Naruto realizes that she must like Shikamaru. Is like, "Hey Temari, how about you hang out with him and I go off on my own?" And Shikamaru's like, "Wait, what do you mean?" And Naruto's like, "Hey, look, we were friends, right? Do me this one favor." And he's like, and then he's like, "I'll pay you back." And Naruto just walked off, and I said that too many times. So Shikamaru's stuck with Temari. He doesn't mind her, but he's kind of confused that Naruto just was walking away, just in a different way. Like, he didn't have a smile the whole time they were talking. Naruto looked gloomy, and that's not the Naruto he knows. And he asked Temari what happened, so Temari tells him everything. And Shikamaru uh, is told about Naruto's childhood and how he felt, and that he tried suicide, and also that the villagers, when he came back, even the villagers noticed him and they realized who he was, but they weren't really appreciating Naruto come back, but they were saying that this demon should have died. And that just changed Shikamaru's whole perspective to the village. He really didn't like the village, and at this point he wouldn't even mind leaving because he knows all the villagers are monsters and this village is full of hatred. There is no hope for this village. One day it will just burn to the ground and everyone will blame each other. And and then Temari does tell him that Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. I'm sure Naruto would want you to know. And the then Shikamaru understands why the villagers hated him, but he still doesn't understand uh, why they would, because Naruto didn't do anything. He just got the Nine-Tails sealed inside of him. It's not that he's the demon, it's the Nine-Tails. And then Temari is like, the Nine-Tails is not a demon. Same with all the other tail beasts. They all have a soul, and Naruto's mission is to show the world that everyone has a soul, even the tail beasts. And she does tell him that Naruto is friends with the Nine-Tails, and the Nine-Tails helps him out. That's how he was able to escape from all the Jonin and Chunin chasing after him. And Shikamaru understands that Naruto is no joke and he is pretty strong. And he says, wherever do you want to go and see more of the village? And Temari is like, yes. And now we go to Kankuro and Yado. So Yado and Kankuro are just walking around. They're kind of exploring, and they say this village isn't too bad. It kind of reminds of me of the Sand Village. That's what Kankuro says. And Yado's like, yeah, just that it's a bit. It just feels a bit different, especially because there's no sand, but there's the vibes here. Everyone's looking at us in like outsiders, and then Yado continued by saying, in our village, no one looks at anyone like an outsider, except how they looked at Gaara back in the days. But now they all love Gaara. In fact, Gaara is like their hero. And Kankuro says, I understand why Naruto didn't want to come at first. And Yado's like, yeah, you're right. This village is something that shouldn't be. And he said that because he knows that if anyone does something bad or the slightest bit in not logical, they would all go against that one man or woman if that actually happened. But they can't really do anything about it, so they just shrug it off and they keep exploring until they reach this ramen shop where they see Temari eating with another boy, and they're like, oh hey Temari, and then Temari's like, oh hello Kankuro Yado, and then Ashikama asks who are they, and Temari says, that's my brother, that's my younger brother. I have another younger brother, but I'm the oldest. And Shikamaru says, oh hello, and Kankuro's like, hello, and then they order some ramen and they say this is actually really good. And then Shikamaru asks questions about Naruto, and then the Ichiraku is like, also, you guys know Naruto? And they're like, yeah, we're his friends. And Ichiraku has tears in his eyes and is like, so Naruto finally made friends. And then his daughter comes in and is like, also, you guys must be the people who Naruto considers as his family. And they're like, not technically family, we are like, well, our families are really close, so we're technically, he thinks of us like cousins, but we're mostly friends. And Yado's like, yeah, I'm just a friend, I'm not in their family. And they're like, it's fine as long as you're his friend. And then Shikamaru asks like how Naruto if Naruto is goofy and if he goofs around, and they say, well, it's only when it's with them and sometimes with some villagers that he really likes, but most of the times he's shy and he doesn't really talk much. And then Shikamaru says, reminds me of someone from my old academy class. And he's thinking back to Hinata. He's like, I'm pretty sure she was really shy. Haven't seen her in a while though. And then Choji walks in. He's like, oh, Shikamaru, you're here. And Shikamaru's like, hey Choji, I'm sorry I didn't come and meet up with you. I was helping out her. And Choji's like, oh, I see, so you made a new friend. And Shikamaru's like, I'll make her up to you by buying you ramen. And Choji's like, yay. And they all eat together. They are making friends, because in this what if, they're not really against each other. Well, in the tuning exams they will, but right now they're not really against each other. And so Temari, Kankuro, Yado, Shikamaru and Choji become really good friends, and they're like, we should hang out more often. And Temari is like, well, if we can't before the tuning exams, and I've heard it will take quite a while, around a month or two. And they're like, oh yeah, we heard too. So Shikamaru, Choji, Yado, Kankuro and Temari do hang out as friends. And then now we head to Naruto. Naruto is sitting on the Hokage stone face on top of the fourth Hokage's one, and he's like, I miss you, father. And but then he has a smile in his face and says, well, at least I have a new family who loves me. I'm sure you guys would be you'd be happy. Same with mother. And the Naito's like, they would be happy if you were happy, Naruto. And Naruto says, you're right, Kurama. And then he jumps off and he lands on top of a pole, and he jumps on rooftops, and then he lands on the ground, and everyone's looking at him, and Naruto's just looking at their eyes and apathetically, without any feeling. He's just looking at them, and some of them most of them know this is Naruto, and they're like, same kid, that demon. And Naruto just looks at them. He gives death stares at some of them who just keep calling him demon after demon after demon after demon. And he's like, shut up, you scum. And they get scared because they did hear about that villager that was calling Naruto names and then got attacked by his friend. And so they just back off and keep walking on their way to work, or just hanging out or whatever. And Naruto's walking towards the ice cream shop. He's like, maybe I could get another ice cream. Hope I don't but in his heart he's like, I hope I meet the girl. But in his mind he's like, I really don't want to see the girl right now, especially because she's with her friends. And then Kurama's like, look, you have to face them one day, Naruto. I mean, do you want to fulfill your dream, right? And Naruto's like, this doesn't have to do with my dream yet. My dream will come true. I'm telling you this, Kurama. But even if it comes true, it doesn't mean I will stop hating this village. Oh, well, the villages, not the village. I like the village. It's a nice village. And he keeps saying it's a nice village until he arrives at the shop. At the ice cream shop. It was pretty empty now, because everyone was got their ice cream, and Naruto just goes back in and asks for another vanilla a strawberry ice cream. And they're like, oh, you must be the same kid as before, because the shop owners don't really know about Naruto. And well, they did hear about Naruto having the nine tails, but they didn't really care, because they came from a different land, and it was a woman and her husband. And they didn't really care. They weren't like pacifists. They didn't like fighting or anything, or they would be ninjas. And then Naruto says, and they're like, hey, this one's on the house. And Naruto asks, but why don't you guys have a business to run? And they're like, well, you see, it's pretty empty now, and you've already bought one, and you look pretty friendly to us, so here, you can have this one. They were just feeling sad for Naruto. They weren't they weren't giving him pity. They were just trying to console him because they know that Naruto. The rumors around that went around about Naruto, they did hear about that, and they're like, that kid didn't really deserve this. And so they say, you can take a seat there, next to the table, next to that table. And then he looks there and he realizes it's a girl. It's the three girls having ice cream, and he just sits there. He has his one, slowly. He doesn't really want to look at them until they ask him questions. They start asking him questions. So the first is Ino. She asks, "Hey, you must be Naruto Uzumaki, right?" So then Ino asks him, "You must be Naruto Uzumaki, right?" And Naruto starts sweating, and he's kind of hyperventilating because he is not used to talking to others except for his new villagers, of course, and his friends and family. And Naruto stutters all the times, just like Hinata. And he's like, yeah, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, or you can call me Momochi if you want. And they're like, what do you mean Momochi? And Naruto's like, that's my new family name, but I go as Naruto Uzumaki to respect my old family. And they're like, we see. And then Sakura comes in and asks, so Naruto, is it true you left the village? And Naruto just stopped acting shy and puts on an actual apathetic face, and is like, and he literally says nothing, and that pretty much answers her question. And then Hinata asks, but Naruto, why? And Naruto looks at Hinata and gives a faint smile and says, well, you see, Hinata, you shouldn't worry about me. And he finishes his ice cream really quickly and says, anyways, I gotta go. And one more thing, Hinata, thank you for worrying about me all these years and back then, but you don't have to anymore. And Naruto doesn't really feel anything like romantic towards Hinata, and Hinata gets the feeling that Naruto doesn't really like her as a partner, but more as just someone who worried about him. And he's like, well, anyways, goodbye, and I hope you have a nice life. And he just goes, and that just gets off a weight off of Naruto's chest, and he's like, oh, finally free at last. And this is where Naruto is followed by all three of them. Naruto realizes this, and he puts on his mask again and says, listen, you shouldn't follow me. I'm going to go train, and I'm not going to hold back if you guys get in my way. And that kind of intimidated all of them, but then Hinata's like, I just want you to come back. And then Naruto is not getting angry, but he says, I told you guys why I left. My childhood wasn't a normal childhood, so you guys shouldn't button into my own life. Please, now leave me alone. And then Naruto uses body flicker and disappears, and the only thing he left behind was a note, and basically he had the note. He wrote that note on top of the stone face of the stone faces of the Hokage, and he basically let go of the note and used the kunai real quick, and he stabbed the note onto the ground. And they notice that Hinata goes and opens it and says, I'm sorry, Hinata. And he was saying, I'm sorry, Hinata, but I don't want you to get into any trouble if you hang out with me, and I want you to get stronger, because I know you're not as strong as some people I know, and in the tuning exams it's not going to be easy, and I believe someone is. And remember, people don't care if you die or something. So please just train harder. You have 1 week left, so I'm advising you to train. And then Naruto appears on top of the stone faces, and he's like, this village, I like it, but I just cannot love it like I used to as a kid. Because, and he does shed a tear, and then just looks back, and he realizes someone was watching him. And then he jumps out, and it's Sasuke. Sasuke asks, just who the hell do you think you are, looking at me like that before? Do you really think you're stronger than me, Naruto Uzumaki? And Sasuke knows who Naruto was, and Naruto was able to just leave the village like his brother. And he thought that Sasuke thought that Naruto was thinking that he's someone big, and someone that is stronger than him. And he got offended because Naruto just looked at him before and then just shrugged it off. And Naruto's like, I'm not saying I'm stronger than you. And then Sasuke's there, shut up, you insolent loser, I know you were. And then Naruto's like, if you really want to fight, come at me. And Naruto is not going to use the Nine Tails' chakra. Naruto can fight, I'm not lying. Naruto, without the Nine Tails' chakra, Naruto's already around high tuning level because of his ice release. And Sasuke's like, I knew it, you're just an arrogant loser. And Naruto's like, prove me wrong then. I thought, if you're really this strong, prove me that you're the strongest. And Sasuke gets angry, and he just appears behind Naruto. Sasuke is pretty fast here. He did train a lot harder because, well, not as hard, but he is a lot faster because, let's say, Kakashi wants his students to be a lot stronger, because he knows one day he might meet Naruto again, and if it's with his team, he does want his team to help him get Naruto back. And Sasuke is a lot faster, and he knows how to use the Chidori already, just saying. So he appears behind Naruto, and he has a Chidori ready, and then Naruto says, is that all? And he disappears from Sasuke's sight, and he basically headlocks Sasuke and says, you move, you die. And Sasuke's like, how am I going to die if you don't even have a weapon? And as soon as he says that, a weapon appears from Naruto's hand. It's really cold, and he's touching Sasuke's throat. And he's like, do you really want to start a war between villages, Sasuke Uchiha? And Sasuke's like, just who the hell do you think you are? And Naruto's like, I don't think I'm anyone, to be honest. I'm just someone who will fulfill my dream. And he kicks Sasuke on the back and says, go train. If you want to become a Chunin, you will have to be able to beat me, since I am going to win. And that's not it. You think you're this strong, right? There's someone even stronger than you. Not strong as me. Well, you could say he's on par with me. Since Naruto doesn't have the full access to the Nine Tails, you could say Gaara is on par with him. But if Naruto is really trying, Gaara stands no chance. Because remember, Naruto was able to keep up with 5-tailed beasts. Wait. I'm getting this right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-tailed beasts with the help of course, the 8 tails. But he was doing pretty well against the 4 tails, and he wasn't even in his mastered. In his KCM 2. He was still in KCM 1, and so he is stronger than Gaara if he really tried. But Gaara can be considered to be on par with Naruto, and he's like, if you really want to become a Chunin, I think you should be training the whole day, not trying to fight someone who's stronger than you straight away, you weak shinobi. What a sorry excuse for an Uchiha. And Sasuke just gets angry at this and rushes at Naruto with his Chidori, and then Naruto says, you're blinded by anger, Sasuke Uchiha. You will never get strong like this. And Naruto just punches Sasuke. Well, basically, he gets to Sasuke before Sasuke could even get to him, and says, how about you go back and train already? you're kind of annoying me. And Naruto's completely apathetic. He doesn't care about Sasuke, to be honest. Sasuke is irrelevant to him. He's not part of his dream or anything. They're not friends at all. Like, Naruto just doesn't like him. He doesn't like his attitude and anything. And he's like, go and train. Sorry, excuse for and Chiha, and he punches Sasuke so hard Sasuke faints, and then Ambu appear because they did feel a spike in Sasuke's chakra out of nowhere, because there are some Ambu guarding Sasuke, because after what happened to Naruto, they feel like Sasuke could be doing the same thing since the Uchiha massacre, and they do guard him, and they see that Sasuke is trying to attack Naruto, and they watch for a minute, and then once Naruto knocks him out, they come in and they apologize to Naruto, and because they don't want a war between villages to start, because they know if Naruto joins the other side, not only the Sand will have the nine tails, but they will not only they will have the one tail tail beast, but also the nine tails, and Naruto can feel that inside of them, and he can feel that they're scared of him, and he's like, you shouldn't be scared of me, all the Sand Village, we're not here for a war. And they're like, but he just attacked him, would you tell you the Kazekage? And Naruto's like, why would I tell the Kazekage if a weak ninja like him attacked me? And he said, tell him to train if he wants to become a Chunin or anything close to me, or even Gaara. I'm pretty sure my four friends can beat, well, my 5 friends can beat him easily. He's talking about Yado, Temari, Kankuro, and Yumi. So and they're like, we'll make sure to tell him. And this is where Naruto decides to go back to Haku and ask him if he can train him, because he knows Haku Haku can put up a really good fight against Naruto, especially if Naruto is not using KCM and he's fighting with his own skills. Haku is technically stronger than Naruto, even though he had all the intense training. Haku is still more skilled. Same with Sabuza, and Naruto does ask him to train him. Well, let's say Naruto is really close to be on par with Haku. So Haku's like, okay, I'll come and train you. Just let me say goodbye to the Hokage. And the Hokage realizes that Naruto is really taking this his dream seriously, and he's happy for him, and he says, yeah, you can go. It's nice. It was nice meeting you, Mr. Haku. And then Kakashi's like, wait, Naruto, may I ask you a question? And Naruto's like, yeah, sure. And then Kakashi's like, can I ask you while I see you train? And then Kakashi's like, can I see you train? And Naruto's like, may I know why, Kakashi? And Kakashi's like, well, you see, I just want to compare your skills to my students. And Naruto is like, may I know who your students' names are? And he's like, Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. And he's like, oh, I've met both of them already. And Kakashi's like, Kakashi knew he was going to Naruto met Sakura, since he did go talk to Hinata, but he didn't know about him meeting Sasuke. And then he's like, I understand you met Sakura, but how did you meet Sasuke? And Naruto's like, well, you see, I was on top of the Hokage stone faces, and Sasuke appeared out of nowhere, and he tried to attack me. He was pretty weak, to be honest, and I'm not trying to be rude, but he is a sorry excuse for an Uchiha. But whoever trained him well. He is stronger than most Genin in my village, but then again, he's blinded by anger and revenge. I can feel it inside of him, and Kakashi knows that Sasuke wants to get revenge, and then he asked, what does he mean by anger? And then Naruto was provoking him, saying that he's weak since he tried to use that technique he called the Chidori, I don't know what that is, on me, and Naruto dodged it and just well, Naruto dodged it and countered it with a he basically dodged and appeared behind Sasuke and put up an ice kunai to his neck. And Kakashi was confused by Kakashi said, "What do you mean by ice kunai?" And then Naruto's like, "Well, you see, let's say I come behind you," and then he appears behind him. And Kakashi was kind of surprised that Naruto was able to do that without Kakashi noticing as soon quickly. And but Kakashi would still be able to get away from Naruto's grasps. And then he says, "Imagine like this. Look, do I have anything in my hand?" And then Kakashi that not as no. And then Naruto's like, "Can you feel the cold though?" And Kakashi's like, "Yeah, you are pretty cold." And then Naruto says, "How about now? Can you feel the cold better?" And then Kakashi looks down and he sees a kunai out of nowhere, and he can see that the kunai is blue and it's really cold. And he realizes, "Is that what you meant by ice kunai?" And Naruto's like, "Yeah, and I want big brother Haku to, well, elder brother to teach me how to use ice style better because he has a Kekigenkai of ice and ice Kekigenkai." And then Haku confirms that and says, "Well, Naruto's ice release is something he developed on his own by combining water and wind release." And Kakashi was actually surprised that Naruto at such young age he had two chakra releases. And he's like, "Wow, Naruto already has two chakra releases. That's actually pretty impressive. It's just like Sasuke, who's a prodigy." And then Haku says, "Well, Naruto's not a prodigy, but the thing is, Naruto doesn't only have two. He has all five." And Kakashi is dumbfounded. He's like, "You're joking with me, right?" And then Naruto's like, "Hey, Naruto, do you want to show him?" And Naruto's like, "Alright." And he slams his hands onto the ground and he's like, "Earth style, earth dome." And then they are inside an earth dome, and then Naruto's not done. He's like, "Fire style, fireball jutsu," and he does it on top of the earth. And so he breaks the earth dome, and Naruto's not done there. He says water style, water shockwave, which just washes away the pieces of the earth dome. And then he's like, lightning style, lightning stream. And Kakashi and Haku do jump out of the way so they don't get electrocuted. And Naruto's like, "Oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that." And Kakashi's really impressed, and he says, "I want to teach you a technique. I'm not sure if you can master it without the without the Sharingan, but it's a technique you've seen before." And Naruto's like, "So you must be Sasuke's teacher, right?" And Kakashi's like, "Yes." And then he's like, "Alright, I bet it's the Chidori, isn't it?" And Kakashi's like, "Yeah, you're pretty bright, Naruto." And then he's like, "I can teach you how to do it, well, the basics of it, but it's pretty hard to control without the Sharingan." And Naruto's like, "Well, I already know the fundamentals of it because I saw Sasuke using it." And Kakashi's like, "If just by seeing you already know the fundamentals," he's pretty confused. He thinks in his head, he's like, is Naruto trying to be cocky or trying to show off that he might already know it? And Naruto's like, "Well, I don't know how to use it, but from what I saw," sorry guys, I'm doing something on paper. And he's like, "Well, I saw that he basically he put a lot of chakra into his hand and then um, released lightning on it, and he was controlling the lightning and he tried to attack me. So I know how to, I can try if you want." And he tries it, he doesn't do it, and he does get a few sparks and it's too strong for him to control. And then Kakashi is like, "How about you try to make a new move with that?" And Naruto's like, "Yeah, sure, but I think you should be training your students instead of me because they are I'm not trying to be rude, but they are pretty weak compared to the Sand Shinobi that came in this morning, especially Gara, me, and Kankuro, because Kankuro is the strongest out of all of them. Well, not all of them, not all of them. Sorry, guys, sorry. Well, he's the strongest out of Yado, Yumi, and Temari. Temari is on par, but it's because of his sorry, it's because of Kankuro's knowledge with poison, and he can use poison, so people can't really get close to him since the puppets protect him, and his clothes do have poison on them. And yes, he is pretty OP. It's just like the game I used to play. I don't play it as much because not many things are happening right now. It's called Naruto X Boruto Ninja Voltage, and he is pretty broken in the game, so I'd say he's the third strongest. And then it's Temari, then Yado and Yumi on the same level, because Yado is more of a long range fighter, but he knows how to fight with poison as well, and Yumi is better than him at close range, so if they ever go into a fist fight, Yumi would definitely win. But if it was long range, Yumi would have a hard time, but she would definitely lose. But that's not what we're here for. And Kakashi is like, I see, so I guess I'll go train my students now. Anyways, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow maybe. And Art's like, yeah, bye. And then Haku's like, hey, that guy is not too bad, you know. He's polite. He's actually pretty kind to you. And Naruto's like, yeah, he did save me once when I tried to commit suicide. I'm pretty sure he's not the type of guy to hate me. And then Naruto's like, hey Haku, can you teach me some more ice techniques? And Haku's like, what do you want to learn? And Naruto's like, I want to learn how to manifest, I want to learn how to use a fire release and ice release at the same time. And Haku's like, what do you mean? And Naruto's like, I want to make a strong ice path full of spikes. Well, you know the thing that I did against a guy that tried to attack the villagers 2 years ago. And Haku's like, yeah, I want to try that, but this time I want to have fire in I want the spikes to be fiery. He just wants a flashy and cool move, because he thought of that, and he's like, maybe I could make it. And Haku's like, well, the ice needs to be really, really, really cold for the fire not to melt it. And then Haku makes a path of ice, and he's like, try to add fire to this. And Naruto adds it, and he sees that the fire is not melting the ice, and Haku's like, the fire wouldn't be able to melt the ice, and it would take days for it to melt unless I decrease the temperature. And Haku decreases the temperature, and the ice just becomes water because of the temperature of the fire, and the fire gets put out thanks to the water that the ice became. And Naruto's like, whoa. And Naruto spends his next 2 days training with Haku, and he makes the perfect ice. So basically, you know how Todoroki made that massive ice avalanche or something against in the sports festival in his first match? It's something like that, but with fire in it. And Naruto's really happy to be able to do this. And then Haku's like, anyways, I'll leave you to train your new technique you're working on. I did see you writing a bit of things last night about lightning release. And Naruto's like, oh, so you've seen too. And so Naruto's like, alright, bye, just don't get into any trouble, Haku says. And Naruto's like, I won't. And Naruto decides to try mastering this Chidori, but he soon realizes he cannot. It's getting late, and then right before he leaves, he says, maybe if I tone down the voltage of the lightning and fix this and that. And he keeps saying that, he mutters a bit, and then he said, perfect, I think I know how to do a new technique. And out of nowhere, purple lightning appears from his hand, and Naruto says, whoa, that's such a cool move, what should I call it? And then he's like, maybe I should just call it purple lightning, keep it simple and it looks cool. And Naruto keeps training for another hour, and right now it's 11 p.m. and then Zabuza appears and says, Naruto, when was curfew, and now it's like 10 o'clock, and Zabuza was like, it's fine if you were training, but what kind of training? And now it's like, I was training on water release, and then Zabuza pulls him by the ear and says, you're coming home with me, to the hotel. And Naruto's like, no, I'm sorry. And Zabuza is like, do you really think I wasn't watching you while you were trying to master that new technique Kakashi of the Sharingan taught you? And Naruto's like, I'm sorry. And Zabuza says, fine, at least you mastered the new technique you've made. And Naruto's like, you saw that too? And Zabuza is like, it's really cool. And Naruto is like, thank you, Dad. And he just goes, and he also, they go to sleep, and the next day, I'll say it's the day before the tuning exam. So that's where I'm going to end it off. Thank you for listening. Please take care, stay safe, and peace. Oh, also, the like goal will be 95 likes. Now, actually, let's not make it a like goal. I will make the next part as soon as I hit 500 subscribers, or you get to 95 likes. Each one of them is fine. If you get to 500 subs, I'll make it, and if you get to 95 likes, I'll make it. Anyway, peace.